Every year, more than 50,000 Britons over the age of 50 are leaving the UK, and not just for sunny beaches or cheaper homes. What's driving this quiet exodus? Is it really just about the cost of living, or is there something deeper, something the media isn't telling you? Imagine working your whole life, only to realize that the very country you built your future in is draining your health, your time, and even your peace of mind. Why are so many people deciding that life abroad gives them more than money ever could? And most importantly, what do they know that could completely change how you see your own future? Stay tuned, because the answers may surprise you. Number 1. Hidden cost of staying. When people talk about the rising cost of living in the UK, most focus on numbers: higher bills, rent, taxes, and food prices. But what often goes unnoticed is the invisible cost it places on your time, peace, and productivity. Every financial strain creates a mental strain. When you're constantly juggling rising expenses, your brain spends more energy on survival decisions. Can I afford this grocery shop? Should I delay this bill? Than on creative thinking, meaningful work, or quality family time. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, and research shows it directly lowers focus, increases stress hormones like cortisol, and even impacts sleep quality. The result? You're left with less energy to be productive, less patience for relationships, and less clarity for long-term goals. It's like working 2 jobs just to maintain the same lifestyle your parents had with one, leaving you drained and running on fumes. This daily grind doesn't just eat away at your wallet, it chips away at your mental clarity, leaving you with little space for growth or joy. Now compare that with people who've moved abroad to places where daily expenses are lower. Suddenly, they don't have to calculate every coffee purchase or utility bill, and that freed-up mental bandwidth gets redirected to healthier routines, hobbies, and deeper social connections. Even if you don't move, rethinking your environment, downsizing to a simpler lifestyle, prioritizing nature over shopping malls, or cutting unnecessary subscriptions, can bring a similar sense of relief. Less pressure to keep up means more energy for the things that truly matter: your health, your relationships, and your ability to stay sharp and productive as you age. In short, the hidden cost of staying isn't just measured in pounds, it's measured in lost hours of peace and focus, hours you can never get back. Number 2. Health and natural living abroad. One of the strongest reasons people over 50 choose to leave the UK is the pursuit of better health and a more natural way of living. In many countries across Europe, Asia, and even parts of South America, life is structured in a way that naturally supports physical and mental well-being. Cleaner air, slower paces of daily life, and easy access to fresh, organic foods create an environment where longevity and vitality are more achievable. Science consistently shows that people living closer to nature, whether through gardening, walking daily in green spaces, or eating fresh produce, report lower levels of stress and stronger immune systems. Stress hormones drop when the body is regularly exposed to sunlight, natural movement, and less polluted surroundings, all of which play a role in reducing risks of chronic illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. Outdoor living becomes more than just an activity. It becomes a built-in rhythm of the day, from strolling in open markets to socializing outdoors rather than behind screens. For many over 50s, this shift isn't just about extending life, but about improving the quality of their remaining years, feeling energized, focused, and connected instead of drained and medicated. Yet, you don't need to cross borders to capture some of these benefits. Even within the UK, simple changes can replicate this lifestyle. Planting herbs in your kitchen, spending mornings walking in a local park instead of scrolling social media, or swapping heavy processed foods for seasonal, locally grown produce. Herbal teas, gentle stretching outdoors, and mindfulness practices can provide the same restorative effects that many retirees seek abroad. The core idea is that a healthier, more natural life doesn't only come from a new country. It comes from choosing habits and environments that nurture your body and mind. For those over 50, adopting even small elements of this lifestyle can unlock reserves of energy, calm, and resilience that feel like a second youth. Ultimately, the decision to prioritize natural living, whether at home or abroad, reflects a growing recognition that true wealth isn't money. It's health, and the daily practices that keep it strong. Number 3. Time freedom and productivity. One of the least discussed but most powerful motivators for people over 50 leaving the UK is the desire for time freedom, a chance to reclaim the hours of their day from a system that constantly pushes for more work, more speed, and more distraction. In the UK, The culture of busyness has become so normalized that taking a full lunch break or switching off after work often feels like a luxury rather than a right. Compare this to countries like Denmark, the Netherlands, or even Spain, where shorter workweeks and built-in cultural pauses like siestas or long communal meals are associated with higher levels of happiness, stronger community bonds, and significantly better health outcomes. Research in time management and occupational health shows that productivity doesn't increase with longer hours. It actually declines sharply after a certain point, leading to burnout, errors, and even long-term health issues. Now imagine the contrast. Finishing lunch under the sun at a small cafe, chatting with friends, before returning to light work in the afternoon, versus eating a sandwich hunched over your keyboard, barely glancing away from emails. That difference isn't just about lifestyle. It's about mental clarity, energy, and the ability to live with intention. Many over 50s realize that abroad, their days stretch wider because they're not constantly consumed by the grind. But you don't need to relocate to embrace this principle. You can create your own time zones of rest, intentional blocks in your day where no screens, no work, and no external demands are allowed. This could be a morning walk, an hour of reading in the afternoon, or simply enjoying a meal without digital interruptions. These pauses reset the brain, reduce stress, and sharpen focus, creating a rhythm of life that feels fuller and more rewarding. For people in midlife and beyond, this shift is particularly important because time becomes the most valuable currency, and how you spend it will define the quality of the years ahead. Ultimately, the move abroad symbolizes more than geography. It symbolizes a rebellion against the culture of endless hustle and an embrace of slower, intentional living where productivity is measured not by hours worked, but by the richness of each day lived. Number 4. Social media and connection. Another surprising factor driving people over 50 to leave the UK is the search for real human connection. Many say that while Britain feels more digitally connected than ever, it has quietly grown more socially isolated. It's the irony of our times. People can scroll endlessly through Facebook groups, Instagram Reels, or WhatsApp chats, yet still feel deeply alone when it comes to face-to-face support. Scientific studies have shown that loneliness can be as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, weakening the immune system, impairing cognitive performance, and even shortening life expectancy. For older adults, this isolation can hit harder, often compounded by children moving out, retirement, or losing long-term friends. In contrast, those who move abroad often discover that community isn't just a concept, it's a lifestyle. In Mediterranean or Latin cultures, for example, neighbors gather for meals, local markets become social hubs, and daily routines are built around interaction rather than isolation. This consistent sense of belonging doesn't just ease the heart. It sharpens the mind, lifts moods, and even boosts productivity by reducing the mental drain of loneliness. But here's the important part. You don't need to move countries to create this. You can intentionally build micro-communities wherever you are. It could be as simple as hosting a weekly tea with neighbors, joining a local walking group, or starting a small circle around gardening, reading, or volunteering. These small but steady in-person interactions restore the social fabric that digital platforms often replace but cannot truly provide. The reality is that no matter how efficient social media becomes, it cannot replicate the health benefits of laughter across a dinner table, a shared walk in the park, or the comfort of someone showing up at your door when you truly need them. For people over 50, reclaiming this kind of human connection is not just about emotional well-being. It's about staying mentally sharp, physically resilient, and deeply grounded in a world that often feels fragmented. And for many, leaving the UK is less about leaving the land, and more about leaving behind isolation in exchange for a culture where connection is still at the heart of daily life. Number 5. Climate and environment. Another powerful factor influencing the decision of many over 50s to leave the UK is the climate. The gray skies, long winters, and lack of consistent sunlight are more than just inconvenient. They directly affect mental and physical health. Research has long shown that exposure to natural sunlight helps regulate circadian rhythms, boosts the production of vitamin D, and increases serotonin levels in the brain, which are essential for stable mood and good sleep. This is why so many people feel lighter, happier, and more energized when they go on a sunny holiday. Now imagine living like that every single day. Warmer, sunnier climates in countries like Spain, Italy, or even further abroad naturally reduce stress, ease symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, SAD, and encourage outdoor living. Instead of being confined indoors for much of the year, people spend time walking, socializing, and exercising in open air, which not only boosts mood but also strengthens the immune system and enhances overall vitality. For those over 50, this can mean a profound difference in how they age, making them feel younger, more active, and more optimistic. But while not everyone can relocate, it's still possible to bring elements of this lifestyle into everyday life in the UK. Small but intentional changes can mimic some of the same benefits. Using light therapy lamps in the darker months to simulate natural sunlight, taking morning walks to maximize exposure to daylight, or surrounding yourself with indoor plants to create a fresher, calmer environment indoors. Even redesigning your living space to prioritize natural light, keeping curtains open, arranging workspaces near windows, can have measurable effects on mood and productivity. The link between environment and mental health is undeniable, and those who choose to move abroad are essentially choosing to invest in a setting that supports their emotional and physical resilience. For those who stay, the key is learning how to adapt. By intentionally curating more light, greenery, and outdoor rhythms in their daily routines, it's possible to capture many of the same rewards. Ultimately, climate isn't just about comfort. It shapes how we feel, think, and engage with life, and for many over 50s, that makes it one of the most important factors in choosing where to spend their later years. Number 6. Legacy and quality of life for many over 50s. The decision to leave the UK is not only about finances, climate, or lifestyle, it's about legacy. At this stage of life, the question shifts from how much can I earn to how do I want to live and how do I want to be remembered. Years of hard work, raising families, and navigating pressures often lead to a realization. The later years should not be spent in constant stress, but in peace, purpose, and connection. It's about quality over quantity, about ensuring that the best remaining decades are lived fully rather than wasted in routines that drain vitality. Imagine it like this. You've been sitting through a long, exhausting meeting, eyes fixed on the laptop screen, shoulders tight, and suddenly it ends. You close the laptop, step outside, and breathe fresh air. That sense of release, of reclaiming yourself, is what many people seek when they choose to move abroad. They are asking themselves, do I really want my last chapters to look exactly like the grind of my middle years, or do I want to create a story that reflects freedom, joy, and meaning? For some, that means embracing cultures that prioritize family meals over deadlines, walks in nature over endless commutes, or laughter with neighbors over scrolling news feeds. For others, it's about finding a place where their health, energy, and spirit are nourished, rather than depleted. Yet, even without relocating, this perspective offers an important takeaway. Legacy isn't just about inheritance or achievements, it's about how your days feel, how your relationships thrive, and what memories you create. Evaluating your life priorities, what you want your story to say about you, can be more powerful than any financial plan. Are you leaving behind a legacy of exhaustion and stress, or one of presence, kindness, and purpose? This is why many over 50s look at moving abroad as more than a change of address. It's a symbolic choice to step into the fresh air of a life redesigned for meaning. The reminder is simple. The way you live today becomes the legacy you leave tomorrow. Number 7. Lifestyle leverage. When people hear about retirees or over 50s leaving the UK, the first thought is usually about money, pensions, housing costs, or cheaper groceries abroad. But the real story goes much deeper than just financial arithmetic. It's not simply about having more cash in hand. It's about the value of each pound and what that pound buys in terms of peace, freedom, and quality of life. In the UK, a modest pension or savings often feels like a treadmill, just enough to scrape by once the bills, council tax, and daily expenses are deducted. There's little left for enjoyment, and the stress of budgeting each month slowly erodes mental well-being. Contrast this with life in places like Spain, Portugal, or Greece, where the same pension can stretch into a lifestyle that includes dining out, leisure activities, and even travel. It's like buying back hours of your life at a discount. You gain the same comforts, sometimes more, while spending less. And this isn't just anecdotal. Studies on retirement migration show that people who relocate to lower-cost countries often report higher satisfaction levels, not just because of cheaper living, but because financial breathing space translates directly into emotional breathing space. When you don't have to count every penny, your mind relaxes, and your time feels more your own. This financial leverage also creates opportunities to invest in healthier routines, fresh produce, local fitness groups, or stress-free hobbies that may feel like luxuries in the UK. Even those who don't move abroad can learn from this principle. It's about prioritizing spending in ways that maximize value for both body and mind. Downsizing to a smaller home, moving out of high-cost urban centers, or cutting hidden expenses can free resources to invest in experiences that nourish your well-being. For many over 50s, this reframing of money as a tool for peace rather than just survival becomes the tipping point in their decision to leave. At its core, the question isn't, how much do I have? But, what kind of life does what I have allow me to live? And increasingly, the answer abroad is, a life that feels bigger, freer, and more worth living, without the constant pressure that staying often demands. Number 8. What this means for you, even if you stay. Of course, not everyone can, or even wants to, pack up and leave the UK, and that's perfectly valid. The real takeaway from those who do make the move isn't necessarily the new country itself, but the habits, rhythms, and priorities they adopt once they arrive. People over 50 who settle abroad often rediscover simple but powerful ways of living. They slow down their days, spend more time outdoors, cook with fresh, local ingredients, and prioritize real human connection over constant digital chatter. These choices aren't bound by geography. They can be replicated right here at home. For example, adopting natural remedies like herbal teas for digestion or stress relief, or practicing gentle evening walks, can provide the same grounding effects as the Mediterranean lifestyle. Likewise, rethinking your relationship with technology, setting boundaries on social media use, carving out offline, sacred hours, and focusing on deeper, intentional conversations can dramatically improve focus, productivity, and emotional balance. Even small adjustments, such as creating a weekly routine that includes gardening, mindfulness, or community activities, can shift life from a hurried, stressed cycle to one that feels calmer and more meaningful. Another overlooked aspect is redefining productivity. Abroad, many retirees learn that being busy isn't the same as being fulfilled. You can borrow this perspective by valuing rest and presence as much as work, turning downtime into a tool for creativity and health rather than something to feel guilty about. The truth is, you don't need to relocate to enjoy the peace, clarity, and purpose that others find when they move. What you need is the courage to question the pace and pressures of modern life and to choose differently, even in small ways. Think of it as importing the best parts of these lifestyles into your own daily routine, making your home, wherever it is, a place that nurtures your health, time, and happiness. Ultimately, the lesson is simple. You don't have to cross borders to cross into a better way of living. By rethinking your habits and aligning them with what truly matters, you can create the kind of life that feels abundant, intentional, and deeply rewarding, without ever leaving your own street. So now I want to hear from you. If tomorrow you had the chance to reshape your daily life, what's the very first thing you'd leave behind? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love reading them. And if you found this eye-opening, check out my previous video for more insights we've uncovered. We put a lot of effort into making these videos for you, so please support us. Hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world.